So I already recorded this video, but I now got some added context, so I'm here to re-record it. So the talk of the horror community right now is this video.
If that's what you want, why don't you just buy the house?
I would. Somebody lives in
But
it.
since you can afford it, maybe you should just
I have another house.
Do I come to your house and say, why do you have your house that way?
No. Oh, this is your house?
Yeah.
You should have a block party.
No.
Why? Oh my God.
No,
Your house is so iconic. You're the owner? I live on the other side of Ogden.
But what happens if I came to your house and I said, I don't like the way that your house looks? That's so fucking rude.
No, your house is adorable.
You're so fucking rude.
I didn't mean to offend you.
Please
I'm
go
sorry.
away. Please go away.
You know what? I did not mean to
How
offend
disrespectful.
you. I'm sorry.
This is people live here.
I know.
Humans live here.
love your
How
house.
dare you?
Okay.
Get out.
Well, you know what? We celebrate
So
life.
disrespectful.
We celebrate life.
So no, you're not. You're very disrespectful.
I
Get out!
Now you have the problem.
So as you can see in here, this guy is very upset and wants this chick off of his property. And honestly, this dude is overreacting because we also got the context. That's why I'm re-recording this video, is because I didn't know what the context was behind that. I didn't know what she'd said, but reports now from this post say that she just said, you know, this guy should have more spooky decor to honor the original film. I'm paraphrasing, but something along those lines. And this is his reaction. Let me tell you something. I've been to this location many times, right? I've been to the Myers house many times. I got engaged in front of the Myers house. When I'm there at those locations, just in the short time that I'm there, in the little window, there are fans that show up. At the Myers house, I've never been to the Myers house one time. And I've been there like 10 plus times. But I've never been there once where at least one fan also showed up around the same time. And we're talking a very small window of time here. And in that time, every single time I go, fans show up. And I've seen up to 10 fans there in the time that I'm sitting there. So if you really extrapolate that, if you think about how many people are really coming, if I see 5-10 people in a 5-10 minute window showing up any random day that I go, that means a lot of people are showing up. So if you're going to buy a house like this, the reality of the situation is that you're going to have to deal with fans. Now, should fans be disrespectful to your property, come onto your property, take shit, try to walk in your backyard, come knock on your door, ask for a tour of the house? No, of course not. That is disrespectful. You should adhere to the proper etiquette. There's this like unwritten kind of rule, and legal ones as well, right? You can't go into people's houses or like break into areas or steal shit from their house, of course. But there's also just an etiquette to things. You go up, you look at it from a distance, you take your pictures, and you move on. That's my own personal take on it with visiting these places. But do I think that people shouldn't go because, you know, a guy like this who thinks that if he's mean enough that people are going to stop coming? Now, he doesn't seem to be talking to the other person that's there. Somebody's wearing like a Billy the Puppet mask. She says in the added context post that we had gotten that she said, oh, Freddy's finally returned home. He seems to be wearing a Billy the Puppet mask, although maybe there's a Freddy off camera I didn't see. She seems to be someone who lives in the area. She's just walking her dogs and says something kind of like, and I've said very similar things. Like, I say this about the Myers house when I go. They seem to want to have nothing to do with the fans, and they put up signs like stay off the property and this and that. As is the same with the people in the Wallace house across the street from the Doyle house. If you've ever been to the Wallace house and had any interactions with the people who owned it, at least during the times that I've been there, they're assholes. They are absolute assholes who want nothing to do with film fans. Well, I got a news flash for you. Film fans are coming. The more iconic the location, the more fans you're going to have to deal with. And if you don't want to deal with them, you shouldn't buy the house. That's just the reality. And you can sit there and you can say, like, no, this is their property and people should respect the boundaries. They're not going to. That's just reality. These places are too important and too iconic to too large of a group of people for you to ever dilute yourself into believing that they are going to leave you alone, that they're not going to come. Because I've talked to the person who owns the house that's in front of the hedge that Michael walks behind when Annie and Lori are walking up. I know I've been there multiple times, and I talked to the owner. I think it was the owner's daughter. But she said there are so many people that come there. She was so wonderfully inviting and welcoming and just understood it and was like, we have tours and all this stuff that come by here. And she's like, I've just gotten so used to it. It doesn't even like faze me anymore. I just kind of say hi and, and I move on. Everyone seems to be mostly respectful and we're good with it. It brings a lot of attention, but it's fine. We know what comes with the, with the house, and that's what's going on here. Now, if this guy's like this to everyone, that's insane, right? He seems to be like this to this girl. Maybe he's in a bad mood. I don't know. He seems like a total dick. He is overreacting to the nth degree here. She tries to de-escalate this situation multiple times, but he is just not having it. And to that, I say move. Honestly, if you're somebody who's like, and I don't know if he put up that fence to make sure people stayed off his property. I get that. That's fine. That's up to him. He can absolutely do that. But what that tells me, having had this house around since the movie came out, and film fans have been viewing it and visiting it for 30 years at this point, right? 40 years. Jesus Christ. 40 years almost. You now are putting up a fence, like you're somebody and running people off. I've never heard anybody talk about the Nightmare on Elm Street house and having bad experiences with the people who live there. I've not heard that, so I don't know if this is a new owner, but he's also very condescending. Like, oh, you can't afford this house. Like, why don't you just buy this house? Oh, well, if you can't afford it, like, why don't you just get out of here? And how rude are you to say how someone should decorate their house? How dare you? Like, such pearl clutching, such pretentious bullshit. Like, I hate the way this guy talks. I hate the way he reacts to her. And is just someone, and I am biased because this is a place that I love. This is a place that I've been. But what a ridiculous reaction from this person. If you don't want to live in a house that is going to attract film fans, people are going to say whatever they're going to say about it. Like, why doesn't this guy keep it more in line with the franchise? People are allowed to say that. You're allowed to do whatever you want to the property. But don't expect that people are going to say nice things when you completely change the house. In fact, they renovated the Wallace house. It looks almost nothing like the original film. And when I go there, I'm like, oh man, who would change this house? And if that person was outside, they'd be like, how dare you try to tell me what I can and can't do with it? It's a historic property. May not mean anything to you, but it means so much to so many. So for you to get upset with them when they're literally just making a comment that you overheard, they didn't even say it to this person. They were talking to a group of people who were outside of the property on the sidewalk. She just made a comment to some random onlookers who were just there to view the house and being like, he should probably put up different decor. For him to come over and to be that angry, and she's being so nice. She's like, oh, you should throw a block party. Why wouldn't you want to do that? And he's like, get the fuck out of here. So angry. This is crazy. This just shows to me that he should not live there. This is not the property for him. If you want to go and buy a random other house, trust me, if you sold this house, you'd make plenty enough money to go buy a different house, and that place will not get visited, and you can go back to your miserable life being alone and not having anyone care to come and see you. If you want that life, have at it. But if you're going to live in one of the most iconic houses in the history of horror, understand what comes with it. This is what comes with it. So, as you know, this is a conversation that I think is interesting because having been to so many different locations and having had multiple different experiences with different owners or none at all, because sometimes I go and they're not home and they don't, or they are home and they don't notice you, or, they're in the house. I'm not in their window or knocking on their doors or anything. But, some people are just outside, or some people or whatever. And I am very respectful. I just want to see the house. I just kind of look at it from a distance. I take my little quick pictures in front of their house. I'm not like looking in their windows. I'm not trying to grab anything. If you go, and there's some people who really do it well. Like the people who own the Strode house. I don't think they own it anymore, unfortunately. I think they did sell it. But those people provided a pumpkin. There was like a basket with a pumpkin and like a laminated sheet that said stuff like, yes, this is the house from John Carpenter's Halloween. Please be respectful. Here's a pumpkin. If you want to take a picture with it down on the stoop, please return it. That kind of thing. Those are the kinds of people that know how to live in a house like this. They honor the legacy of the film and they cater to fans while also asking for a returned respect. That's it, right? Reciprocated respect. I respect that you love the film. They don't even have to like the fucking thing. Now, if I had the money, I would go and buy the Myers house and I would turn it into a freaking museum and I would have tours and I would take people through it. You could make a ton of money doing that. But I just think that you are kidding yourself if you're somebody who's going to buy a Myers house, a Nightmare on Elm Street house, whatever. And you think that film fans aren't going to come and aren't going to have whatever opinions that they're going to have of your house. They're not even saying it to you. They're saying it out on the curb to other people, and it wasn't even bad, if that's true. Now, always take things with a grain of salt. Who knows what was said and how she meant it. Maybe she's come around there multiple times and he's sick of her coming and talking shit. I don't know. I mean, I feel like he would have said something like, you're always here talking shit about my house. You said other... I feel like there'd be added context in that interaction. It seems like it's the first time he's ever seen her. But his reaction, if that's really what she said, like, oh, he should put up spooky decor to stay in line with the franchise or whatever, to honor the franchise or whatever it is she said. If something like that, nothing, to elicit that kind of response from him, is crazy and just tells me that this guy should not be in this house because he can't deal with the attention that this house brings. I can just see it in the way this one interaction he's had with fans. And she's not even like a fan who's there. She's literally just walking by the place with her dogs and interacting with the family. She knows the place, right? She's like familiar with it, but she doesn't come off to me as some like hardcore fan of the franchise. She just realizes like, oh, you could really like make this work for you. You could throw a block party. A whole bunch of people would come here and just want to be friends with you because you live in such a cool place. Like, she seemed to be so inviting and happy and apologetic, and he wasn't having any of it. So, I don't know. I just implore people to absolutely go and visit these locations. They're very cool to see in person. I absolutely recommend doing so. But be respectful. And if someone comes out and is a dick to you for no reason like this, seemingly what happened in this video, that is what it is. And those people probably shouldn't live there. But we also can't kick them out. It is their right to live there. Whoever wants to pay the money to buy the house, we also kind of got to deal with them. That's the reality of the situation. But this is our 5-minute interaction, right? You go there once, you have the interactions with them, and then you get on with your life. Them on the flip side of this, they're dealing with this every day. So this is where I'm saying the reality of the situation for them seems ill-advised. As to where it's like on my side of things, this is just a quick interaction, and if I have a negative one, I get to leave that. I don't live there. I don't own the property. I get to walk away. They don't. So if they're not enjoying it every single time people show up and they're like, look at these film fans are back. There's not enough signs. There's not enough anger. There's not enough, whatever you want, gates, whatever. There's not enough of them in the world to thwart film fans from showing up. They're going to show up. If you own these kinds of properties, you're going to have to deal with them. That's the reality of it. So that's enough. I'm just repeating myself at this point. But I've had such wonderful experiences going to these places, and I've had bad experiences. The Wallace house is the one. They're always dicks. They like stand outside and they're like very angry and are just like these loser film fans. Like, why can't they just let this film go? It's 50 freaking years old, 45 years old at this point. They don't care about it at all. And you don't have to be a fan. You don't even have to care about it at all. But understand the situation and, just be kind. Jesus Christ. She said nothing. She was being so nice. You overreacted. And it's shameful. Like, the way he reacted is insane. It's ridiculous. In my summation, like, he doesn't owe her an apology, but it feels like, one is warranted. It's ridiculous. It's overblown, and it got a good conversation going, though. I've seen tons of people commenting on this, and I saw some recommendations of, like, put up a sign that says, come back during these days, and I was like, that's a terrible idea, because people come from all over the world to see this house, and they fly in and they're only there on a Wednesday or a Saturday or whatever, and they're not going to come back. So you're going to have them every single day of the week. They're going to come, they're going to take pictures, they're going to, it's going to be a bit of a hot spot, a tourism hot spot. And if you can't handle that and you don't like it, you shouldn't buy the house. It comes with the property. The attention comes with the sale. That should be included in any famous location, right? If you go to, like, the Nicole Brown Simpson house where she was murdered with Ron Goldman. If anyone buys that house and thinks, like, oh, no one's ever going to come here, and I'll put up enough signs, or I'll file some kind of complaint with the city or what, good luck with that. It's not going to happen. So if you're going to buy a place like this, understand what comes with it. And don't be a fucking asshole. Jesus Christ. What an insane reaction. This is crazy. But God. It sucks that someone who's like this owns something like that. Because someone like me or someone like you, some Fred head, they would die to own this property. But because we can't afford it, I guess we don't even get to have a say in what it looks like, even just to ourselves. What an asshole. What an asshole. Oh, God, I hope somebody comes in and snatches that thing up right from under him. Somebody who can afford it and gives it the respect that it deserves and allows fans to just, come take pictures and not be harassed by the asshole who lives there. So those are my thoughts and opinions. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say below. Last thing, for those who stuck around, I'm going to ask the question, what are the filming locations that you have visited? What is the filming location that you most want to see? Like, what is your bucket list, end-all, be-all filming location that you have not seen but you want to see? Mine, currently, is the lighthouse from The Fog. It's not even that far from me. It's in California. I think it's in Point Reyes. Is that what it? Yeah, but it's in California. It's not even that far of a car drive for me. I'm in Arizona. It's in California. It's like maybe 15 hours at most. It's not even that crazy. It's not like it's in New Zealand, like Hobbiton or something, which is another filming location, of course, I'd love to see. But that's such a trek. That's crazy. That's a plane, across the ocean, and that's wild. But this, this is pretty doable. I'd also like to see the stairs from The Exorcist. Those are real close together, but Fog Lighthouse, and there's tons of other locations, right? Tons and tons of them. The gas station from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Hewitt house from the Texas Chainsaw remake. Like, there's tons and tons and tons of them that I'd love to see. And but I've seen a whole mess of them in California mostly. And I've made videos on the channel of famous filming location visits and whatnot. So if you want to check those out, and I even have a video where Kaylee and I got engaged right there in front of the Myers house with Michael Myers himself, who ended up being Michael Dougherty from Trick or Treat. Supposedly that's him in the Myers mask up there writing a script, and he just so happened to observe our proposal to one another and stuck it out and watched the whole thing and gave us a thumbs up and approval and everything. He never came out and said anything, but we got pretty much confirmation that it was him that was up there, which is just like so cool, such a great part of our story. And we got to experience by going to, a random house in Pasadena that brought us so much more joy than it seems to bring to the assholes who live in them, right? Like, why isn't it someone like me that owns the Myers house? Man, it would be so much better if I did, because film fans would love coming there. I would love to come out and talk to people about Halloween every day. That would be heaven to me. Yeah, you'd have to deal with an asshole here or there who thought like they pushed too much, but for the most part, I've interacted with tons of people in front of those houses, and they just love the film and they love the location, and they would never do anything to disrespect or damage the property in any way, shape, or form. They just want to be there and, have some nostalgic feeling for something they absolutely adore. So that's my thoughts on this, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the comments and your thoughts. You think I'm way off here? You think that this guy is justified in his actions? What do you guys think? Let me know. I'll see you in there.